Oh, yeah, it's time for another episode of Vactor Loves Comics, VLC if you're nasty, a weekly podcast where Vactor, I love comics, and you should too. And we have, because he was so popular, by popular demand, we have returning the Markus Seaberry, the best comic book reader in all of Memphis. Marcus, how you doing?
Oh boy, there you go, jumping out the window with them hot takes. I am simply an old nerd who held on to the comics because, well, they were a comfort again. Because, like I keep telling y'all, being a black nerd in the '80s, man, ain't like today.
And I forgot to tell
I was
everybody
like,
on the last
huh?
episode, the way that we met, Marcus, was in a comic book shop. I was doing a
Oh yeah,
podcast
yeah,
and you
yeah,
came up to me.
yeah. Well, no, like the first thing it was like you, Willie, and it might have been Chris, and I was like, "Oh, y'all doing a podcast?" I was like, "That's cool." And then like the first time I ain't get on with me and you was chit chatting about like what was it? Oh, that old One More Day Spider Man
Oh,
bull crap.
dang. That shows you how long
And,
ago it was.
and you made a face too, and I was like, man, I feel like if I keep reading the book, I'm telling them that it was okay to break up the marriage of Peter Parker and Mary Jane.
Dang.
But then another time y'all showed up, and it was you, Chris Eden, and his dad.
Oh, right. Yep.
And I
Hmm.
think Willie had to work. Then I hopped on because y'all interviewed Jason Negan.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was my first time on Geekland. And I remember you sent me a Facebook message like, man, I really enjoyed you. You know, whenever you free. But then y'all started recording on Sundays and stuff. And it's like, bruh, no, I was not around. Then
Yeah.
one day y'all was there. You remember me? I hopped on the mic. And then I hopped on the mic for Entertainment Overload, and we was out to the races. Although I
Yeah.
think Ben was mad at me today, cause, but like Ben was taking my opinions like personal attack. I
Oh,
was like, dude, it
yeah.
couldn't have been personal attack. I literally knew you 5 minutes.
Right.
You just like things I hate. I like
Yeah.
my wife like things I hate, man. That's me. The other day she was wearing a brown trench coat, and I started humming the Pink Panther theme song because I'm petty and I'm kind of an a hole. Like that's just me. Like it ain't personal, man. I'm just super opinionated. Also, I was such an extremist back then. It was like if I loved it, I was like, "This is the greatest thing ever. I love it, and you should too. Don't you feel it?" And I was like, "This is horrible. Cast it out the village."
Yes.
I have learned to live in the gray a little bit more.
Nice. Well, yeah,
And
I'm
sometimes it's
very
just okay.
That's right. I'm very happy Seabury is joining me on this podcast. And I think you, the listener, will be happy as well. And actually, because Seabury is such a vast reservoir of pop culture knowledge, and he's got so many interesting things to say, Seabury, I want you to rant at the beginning of every show. I want whatever's on your mind. I just want to hear it. I want to hear it because I think your hot takes are so interesting. So, what you got this week for us, Seabray?
All right, man. First of all, though, got a little some. R.I.P. the DJ Slay. He originally started out like in the 70s and 80s as a graffiti writer. He was Desi Dez. And over time, he transitioned to being DJ K Slay, aka the Drama King, aka Slap Your Favorite DJ. Um, he was kind of a controversial guy. He was a bit of a crap starter. Uh, he always championed kind of those gritty underground MCs in New York. Like just an interesting figure in hip hop. He been dealing with COVID for a long time. I don't know if he was vaccinated or not. I ain't trying to get into that. Y'all make your own decision about that. Marcus Seaberry with the gang of pre-existing conditions. I took all the shots, all of the shots. But yeah, man. So like, R.I.P. to that dude, man. Like he was just kind of one of them staples in the early 2000s when I was still trying to get into radio because I do have a bachelor's in communications, quiet as kept.
Nice.
Um, I was doing it the traditional way. I was at a gospel station and they replaced the entire weekend staff with automated service. I got John
Whoa.
Henry, man. I got John Henry, but
Dang.
yeah, that kind of soured me on the game. But then I discovered you, and I was like, oh, so podcasting, it's like radio without rules.
Yeah. Independent. It's
And
like
you know,
pirate
that kind of
radio.
seems to be yes, yes. All right, matey. Now I got Jake and the Neverland Pirates in my theme song about my
Dang, I haven't thought about that in
Jake
a
and the
long time.
Neverland Pirates and
Yeah.
me. Yeah, see, had a niece that was born in 2010. Yeah, first it was just like me and my brother living there, but then his girlfriend and she was pregnant, then she had a child. They're married now. They've had 2 more children. But I was like, hey man, I'll be watching TV and I'll be like, okay, well this objectifies women. This objectifies women. This objectifies women. Let's watch Disney. So like I was on like about 2010 to 2013 is like my Disney slash Disney Junior era. It was all
Oh,
like Phineas
yes.
and Ferb and
Yeah.
Jesse and Jake and the Neverland Pirates.
Yeah.
That's my
Okay.
era. But I'm but I'm super rambling. Let me get back on some kind of laser focus. Also another topic I want to talk about, man. Everybody been talking about ghost guns. Like I feel cheated, man. Cause at first I ain't know what the hell ghost gun was, but then my next thought was, wait a minute. So are we admitting that ghosts are real? Is this happening? Then I found out no, it just means untraceable firearms. I'm like, see, y'all playing.
I never heard of that
I
until
want a
you
real ghost gun. I
until
want like
you
an old ass musket rifle hunted by David Crockett.
until you brought that up to me last week. I never heard of that.
I never heard the term ghost gun, but like I get these USA Today like bulletins and updates in my work email, I guess, because we get USA Today. So I was like, oh, ghost guns. What is that? And I was like, oh man, it just means untraceable firearms. Like, just say untraceable firearms. Y'all got me hyped for nothing. Play too much media. And then we got to talk about this, man. I mean, it's been a few weeks. I know everybody tired of hearing about it, but I just wanted to give a take about this in a somewhat public forum, man. We got to talk about the Oscars and Will Smith slapping up Chris Rock. Okay, yes, he was wrong. That's not how adults should handle things. But also, Chris made comments about Jada back in 2016. There was a little meme when she was protesting the Oscars, and he was like, "It's like me protesting Rihanna's panties. I wasn't invited." Now you know Will probably thought about that one, and also like, man, I understand Will's plight because I'm perceived as a quote unquote nice guy, and I try to be kind and do the right thing. You know, I come from my church upbringing, and like a lot of times, particularly black folks, take that as being so. Oh, you weak, you a punk, or they might call you a homosexual, or other kind of stupid stuff. And it's like everybody got a break point. And like folks have been trying Will for years, and also like the last year, you gotta understand, Jada just told all their business on Red Table Talk, and then Jada's little side piece, August Alsina, want to start running his mouth. And then everybody like, well, how come he hit August? It's like because dummy, him and Jada had an understanding. Don't think that Will didn't have side pieces. Do you know why we don't definitively know who his side pieces are? Because they kept their mouth shut. Maybe he paid them money. Maybe he had them sign something. Maybe he just like, look, you know who I am. Don't be messing this up. But Jada's little side piece, I guess he was hurt. Want to go out yappity yap. And was probably trying to boost his album sales. And it's like, how'd that work out for you, August? Anybody cared about you since like what 2011?
Yeah.
Like
I couldn't tell you an August song.
there was a time I could have like, when he first started, he was on Def Jam, but like since he been indie, I don't know August's stuff. And not that I don't listen to indie artists. I listen to a lot of indie artists, particularly if they come from when I was a child and they old. Like I saw New Edition a few weeks ago at FedEx Forum. I was like, wow, they're old now. It's
Dang.
like they hit the steps, but it wasn't quite with like the snap of like the 90s. It's like especially Bobby Boy. God bless Bobby. Oh Lord. I'd be like, y'all here, Bobby. Like somebody get Bobby a towel, somebody get Bobby some water as soon as we done. Like Bobby gotta start doing yoga or something. Boy. I was like but like I don't know, man. It looked like August was trying to get fame and he set all this in motion. I just think all that was in Will mind and Will just had a hell of a year. And Will lost himself, man. But like, one bad day and here we are, man. Like and yeah, dude, okay. I could have saw a 2, 3 year ban. They banned my boy for 10. I was like, wow, dude. So Will banned for 10, but Roman Polanski, who's a known like rapist, can speak via satellite. So that's cool. And Alec Baldwin, who straight up just shot somebody on the set. Accidentally, yeah, but still, he killed somebody. He cool. Walk through the door, Baldwin. Glad to see you. Oh no, but Will slap somebody and it's like 10 years. I was like, come on, bro. Y'all being super extra, man. Y'all being like, but it's I'm just glad Will got the Oscar. I'm not quite sure he deserved it for King Richard. I mean, I thought he did good, but it felt like a makeup Oscar for like Pursuit of Happiness. Only problem is, what'd you say? Oh man, I can't hear you.
I thought he was going to win the Oscar for Ali. Remember that?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I saw Ali, it was cool, but something to me felt like it wasn't quite it. I'm gonna tell you who got slept on for Ali though. Jamie Foxx's Bundini
Oh,
Brown.
yeah.
That was a master's class. I was like, that in any given Sunday let me know, like, yo, Jamie Foxx can act for real.
Yeah.
Cause everybody be trying to hold Wanda over his head and all that. I'm like, man, don't be mad because that man got range. You know. But see now I feel like Andrew Garfield kind of got screwed because everybody saying Click Click Boom was amazing. So I guess based on past experiences, I guess he probably got to get screwed like one more time, then he'll finally get it for something he probably shouldn't have got it for. Cause
Dang.
like, cause I mean, I remember when I first felt Denzel got screwed back in '93 for Malcolm X. They gave it to Al Pacino for Sin of a Woman. Nobody remembers Sin of a Woman,
Mm-mm.
but they didn't give it to him for God. I mean, for Scarface, so they were like, I am.
Yeah. See,
Then Denzel
I
got
don't like
screwed
that.
for Hurricane, and then was Training Day his best performance? Probably
Mm-mm.
not, but it
Mm-mm.
was gritty, and it's like, well, it's time to give it to Denzel.
Yeah.
So it's Oscars are dumb. I just although now I did see Coda. I can say, oh boy, even though he deaf, dude who won that, he deserved that, man. Coda had me in my feelings, man. I got into that movie, boy, cause they had a daughter that could talk, but like, man, the little, but her deaf parents, they were some jerks, man. They were
Oh, yeah.
selfish.
Yeah.
They was all so like, what about us if we need you here? And I'm like, man, I forget I watched the movie, man. I was yelling. I'm like, quit being selfish, your stupid ass. Listen to that daggone Marlon Matlin, man. Like I love her in real life, but her character, I was like, you're selfish.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, if y'all don't let that little girl live, let her chase her dreams. Well, all right. I mean, that's
Yeah,
enough of
let's
me
let's
ranting.
chase our dreams, Seaberry, and talk about the comics that we read this week. And I want you to start off. What did you read this week?
Homie, I got one. One is the loneliest number. Uno, if you will. G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, Saturday Morning Adventures #1 is published by IDW, written by Eric Burnham, drawn by Dan Schoening, colored by Luis Antonio Delgado. This is basically a carbon copy of the spirit of the 80s G.I. Joe
Oh,
series.
nice.
The the Dreadnought still a mini statue for Cobra Commander. He blasted. They like, yo, do you know he went through to get there? Like, y'all gonna be compensated. Watch what I'm doing. From the rubble of that is a lamp. It's Aladdin's lamp.
Oh.
He rubs it in there as a genie. And he uses his first wish in this issue. He makes some giant, those robo troops, the bats. He makes some
Oh.
giant bats and have them attack G.I. Joe in different ways. And the book ends with him still having two wishes left. And I mean, just the dialogue and feel is straight up the 80s cartoon. There's even like a little mock PSA at the end, with the no one after battle. I was like, yes, I remember this. I
Nice.
remember it well. It's just all the childhood memories. Cause man, I remember cause G.I. Joe had like three miniseries before they finally became like a regular weekly show. So I'd see a miniseries and get hyped, be like, oh, so I guess that's it. Oh, it's another miniseries. Oh, I guess that's it. Oh, it's another miniseries. Then it was like, oh, finally they got a regular weekly show. Yes. Man, that was my freaking show. I still sing like the Cold Slither theme song from when the Dreadnoughts became a rock band. Like it just brought back that fun, man. And it's crazy I picked this up because earlier today I was trying to figure out the lyrics to G.I. Joe's second theme song, like after the movie and Deke
Oh.
took over the cartoon. That's my favorite theme song. 'Cause that joint went hard to me. That got to get tough. Yo,
Yo,
Joe.
Joe.
Yes. A battle cry? Yo, Joe. You know what I'm saying? So if you are like me, you know what I'm saying, a child of the 80s and 90s and you remember the cartoon, that's for you. Or if you somebody want to introduce your kids to a nice all ages coming, there's no cussing, there's none of the sexing. Like get out a try, man. Pick that up.
Nice. And I had been hearing a bunch of good stuff about G.I. Joe comics over the last 5 years. Once I got snapped away and I came back, Seabury, I was hearing
Oh yeah.
some rumblings about G.I. Joe. Have you been reading anything else, prior to this in the G.I. Joe world?
Not really, man. I'm like in and out. Normally, if there's like a free comic book day book, I get it.
Oh, yeah. I'm the same way.
And yeah, I kind of kept like my foot in the water a little bit for Transformers, but
Mm.
then they did a Unicron saga and rebooted,
And that
and
was
I was like,
IDW too, right?
yeah.
Okay.
IDW currently has the license for Transformers GI Joe, but they're supposed to be losing them. The rumor, the scuttlebutt, the skinny, if you will, is that
The T.
Image. Yes, the T. You know what I'm saying? Sweet tea, cause I'm a Southern boy. Uh, is that Image in general and the Skybound imprint, Robert Kirkman's in particular,
Yes.
are supposed to pick up the license.
Oh, wow. That would be interesting. Because I've been
Yeah,
really
man.
enjoying a lot of the Skybound and Image books lately. Although you're not going to know it from my list that I'm reading this week, but I've been really enjoying a lot of the Image books that's been coming out lately.
Like I said, I had two on my pull list. Like I said, Bitterroot is on hiatus because they making a live action movie, and Excellence is still on my list. Yeah, like I said before, man, you and Willie, mainly you and Willie, because oh my God, Willie just had the best taste in comics. I used to be like, what am I doing with my life? I was like, he's reading the best things, and then ironically, every writer that he loved would start out doing a independent non superhero book, and then Marvel or DC would snatch him up.
Yeah.
So,
Actually, did you see that post Willie put on Instagram a couple days ago? It was us in the comic shop recording.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man. Good times, man. My life was a little freer then, man. I
Willie
don't think y'all.
Gillis, where are you? We want you to come on the show. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think he reading comics no more. But,
Ah, man. Well,
man, ain't
if
nobody reading no comics but you and me.
that's true. Hopefully, anyone who's listening to this podcast, you will be enticed to pick up some comics because we need you. We need the new readers out there. But if Willie
Yes.
Gillis was reading comics today, I bet you he would pick up all new Firefly from Boom Studios. Now, this is a new series that just started. Before this, Seabury, I don't know if you were reading the Firefly by Greg Pak.
I wasn't.
That was a fantastic book. It was like you said with the GI Joe being in the same vein as the '80s cartoon. That Greg Pak run, I want to say it was like 30 something issues. It was like he was writing the show. Like I was reading it and I was like, I'm watching the show. This is I couldn't tell it wasn't Joss Whedon. R.I.P. to the Joss Whedon guys because he's dead now. But Greg Pak's Firefly was fantastic. He had the same comedy. He had the same like the romance, like everything. The way he wrote all the characters was exactly like Joss Whedon. But I guess they rebooted for whatever reason, Seabury, in February of 2022. So I got to catch up on issues 1 and 2 of this new series, written by rising star writer David M. Boyer and artist Jordi Perez.
I ain't up on him. Now, I will say, me being an old head, I read a lot of Greg Pak superhero stuff.
Yes, and
Yeah,
he's actually
shit,
writing. He's writing the Star Wars books right now. Like I think he's writing Darth Vader. Greg Pak, one of my
and I'm
favorites.
counting it now. I'll tell you what I do. When they make Lando series, I buy and then get the trade.
Yeah, waiting on the trade. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
What you say?
I said, waiting on the
Oh yeah, I hear
trade.
waiting for the trade.
Yeah. One of our one of our calls to action with Willie Gillis on our old comic book podcast. That's for the old Vactor heads out there.
Ah yeah.
But this new Firefly is basically like a new continuity. So it's not what happened. It's basically like saying what happened in Serenity never happened in the movie. This one has Kaylee is the captain. Mal's not the captain anymore. Jane is different. Like he shaved his head, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. Where when I was reading that first book, I was like, wait a minute, did I miss something? Because it doesn't really catch you up on what's different, or besides Kaylee being the captain, like that's the main thing. Everything else is the same. Also, they have a new crew member, but I was really liking the art. I'm really liking the first 2 issues, so I'm going to continue with all new Firefly. It wasn't as I don't think it was as good as the Greg Pak stuff was immediately. That Greg Pak one, like the first issue hit me, and I was like, this is it. Because Firefly, I don't know if you know this, Seabury, is my favorite show of all time.
You probably told me this once upon a time, but I ain't physically seen you in like 13 years, so
Yeah. But you got to get up on the Firefly, guys. All new Firefly 1 and 2. They're out right now, and I'm going to continue on that. Something else
is Summer Cloud's character in the book?
Yes, she is actually the engineer in this book. Instead of being kind of off on her own, randomly fighting every now and then, they go to her as a valued crew member, and they're asking her to do equations and chart courses and stuff. So yeah, she's heavily involved in it.
As she should. Summer Cloud is the greatest.
Yeah. Actually, I haven't seen her in a while. I wonder what she's up to.
Man, she pop up and stuff here and there. I still got love for her from them Sarah Connor Chronicle days when I used to call her Glaubot.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was like, yes, my Glaubot.
Nice. Well, something else I'm also getting caught up on, Seabury. I have 2 main goals to get caught up on. Now, I told you last week, I'm all caught up on Saga. The next book I want to get caught up on is Amazing Spider-Man. I don't care who's writing it. This is like Action Comics, Detective Comics. Amazing is a pillar of comic books. So I always want to be caught up on Amazing Spider-Man. I'm kind of mad that I got so far behind. So I'm starting, from the beginning of the Nick Spencer run, and I'm going all the way through. So at this point, I'm on issues. I read 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. So that was the end of the Craven the Hunted arc with Craven the Hunter, and then starting a brand new arc. So the Craven the Hunter arc was okay to me. It kind of dropped off a little bit just because the whole thing that got me excited about this run to begin with was Ryan Ottley's art. Going from
Hmm.
Invincible on to Amazing Spider-Man, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And he's currently doing the Hulk, which I'm also loving. I just love Ryan Ottley's art. So they had Umberto Ramos and they had a bunch of different guys filling in with that Craven the Hunter arc. And I was like, oh, this is kind of like it brought me down. But the very end of it, they did an epilogue and it was back to Otley. That was issue 23. And then looks like 24 and 25, he's back at full strength. And
Yeah.
I love it.
Because if I remember correctly, you're not a fan of multiple artists doing a story.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, because I remember you was reading an X-Men book back then. You were like, it was good, but like every issue was a different artist. I was like, you were like, no. I get it, man. I get it, man. I like, although I'd probably give a pass to Ramos because, my Ramos love goes back to like Impulse in the 90s
Oh
and
yeah. Yeah.
Crimson at Image Comics and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But
Yep.
I get it, man.
Yeah. And there's this new arc that they're starting with issue 25 and 20 no, I'm sorry, 25 is a super extra sized jumbo sized issue. It's like 60 pages. Now this it was published in July of 2019, Seabury. So that shows you how far behind I am. But I was reading the Daredevil crossover, The Devil's Reign, and all of a sudden Ben Riley is Spider-Man. I was like, "What? I'm so far behind. How what happened to Peter Parker? How do I not know Ben Riley is swinging around? Like, what is going on?"
Man, Peter Parker got mollywopped, man.
Ah!
Like he got beat up bad. Like he was in the
Ooh.
hospital. Like he was on the injured reserve list, bro. It was like, you know what I'm saying? Ben Riley came out the bench like he was a I don't know
He's six
freaking
man.
B.J. Armstrong on the
Yeah.
Chicago Bulls teams in the '90s. Like, all
Right.
right, time me to shoot my three. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I just I've never liked Ben Riley. Like I said, even back in '95,
Right.
when I saw the Clone Saga beginning, I was like, this gonna be dumb.
Well, what did you
Even
think?
though I've been
Let me ask you this: as somebody who you were reading it at that time, right when it was coming out.
oh no, I checked out when
Oh,
like I read it from '88 to like maybe mid '95.
okay.
Cause I mean, they was doing the subplots, and I think David Michelinie left and J.M.D. Mateus took over. Spider-Man started getting all dark and gritty, and cause like the comedian had him thinking his parents was back to life, but they were
Yeah,
like fake little robots.
I remember that. You know what's funny? I was actually getting a subscription in the mail, and they would arrive like all smashed up in the mailbox. Like the postal worker didn't care. He's just like, throw it in there. Who cares? It's a comic book. I was like, man, this is my Amazing Spider-Man number 400. What is going on here?
I know this my
Um,
baby.
yeah, but
Yeah,
I was.
yeah, dude.
Oh,
I just felt it being dumb, so I was like, you know what? I got enough X-Men to read. I'm gonna focus on Onslaught, and I just walked away. And I kind of came back in '98 when John Byrne did a miniseries that was gonna
ooh,
retell Spider-Man's origin. I bought like 2 issues, and I was like, I don't care.
was he
But
doing art?
then, huh?
Was he doing the art?
Yeah, he was doing art too.
Ooh,
He was like
nice,
writing and drawing.
nice,
But
nice.
then I came back for good near the beginning of J. Michael Straczynski's run on Amazing
Okay.
Spider-Man writing, and a lot of that was drawn by John Romita Jr.
Yeah, who's coming back? Yeah.
Yeah, I might buy the first issue, man.
Oh, you know you're gonna buy it, Seabury. Come on
I'm
now.
gonna buy the first issue, but
Yeah.
but but like I told you, man, like a lot of stuff I struggle with at 45, man. My willing suspension of disbelief isn't as strong as it used to be. And like I said, Peter Parker is just, he struggles like a dumb person. Like, he's far too intelligent to be this cash strapped. I just be
Yeah.
like, dude. And like I told you, maybe if Miles Morales wasn't around, but Miles Morales has become my go-to Spider-Man in the
Nice.
comics. I
Nice.
still rock with Peter in animation and movies, all that jazz. But in the comics, I'm like Miles, light my darkest hour.
Yeah, and Seaber, I know that you're not a video game guy, but they came out with a Miles Morales video game for PlayStation a couple years ago, and that
I heard.
game is fantastic. Not only that, but I played through the entire game and posted it on YouTube, and you'll see my wife reacting to it as I play. So if anybody's interested, I'll leave a link in the show notes to my YouTube channel, and we have a whole Miles Morales playlist, so you can watch me play, watch me get loose, Seabury, on that Miles Morales game.
I probably will, cause like, what's the game I would watch people play through? I I watched like playthrough videos of the first The Last of Us.
Ooh, nice. Okay, that's a great
That
one.
mess felt like a movie. I
Oh
was like,
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
I I almost grabbed some popcorn. Like, oh, what's gonna happen? Don't go through that door, girl. What you doing? You're crazy now.
Yes, that is a fantastic one. Um, that one and the second one are both, they're so cinematic that you could watch them like they're movies. But yeah, definitely check out our Miles Morales playthrough. We did 5 videos, and I'm pretty proud of the result that we did. Plus, my wife stayed throughout the whole thing. She didn't get bored. She actually enjoyed it. Plus, she's kind of like you, Seabury, where Miles is her Spider Man now after Into the Spider Verse. She fell in love with Miles. So anything that's Miles Morales, she is in love with. And I told you this. So my wife is Latina, and I am part African American. So Miles, for her, she feels like that's her Spider Man. She feels like the representation is there, speaking to his mom in Spanish, and that, like, so my wife loves Miles. Anyways, is what I'm trying to say. So definitely check that out. I'm going to continue with Amazing Spider-Man until I'm caught up. And after that, Seabury, I'm going to catch up on Jason Aaron's Thor because I fell off on that when I got snapped up. And Jane Foster had just gotten the hammer. And I was like, oh no, what happened after that? So I want to get caught up on that. So I'm definitely going to do that.
Can I tell you one thing?
Yes.
All right, check. Here's the craziest part about her run. Cause she has cancer, right?
Yes. Yes.
Every time she transforms to Thor, the Thor power viewed the chemotherapy as an attack on her body and wiped it
Ooh.
out. So every
Ooh.
time she turned back human, she'd be even sicker.
Dang.
Yeah, so like I was like, dang, Jane, I like felt for you and them. So it's like, do the right thing and risk death. That was like heavy. But yeah, it was cool. And of course, now Natalie Portman who played Jane Foster in the movies, will be a Thor in
Yes.
Love and Thunder, and it looks like she has a repaired version of Mjolnir.
Oh, I can't wait. They're actually selling that as a toy, Seaber, and I want to buy it. I want it for my back room. I want to display it, and I want to have the power of Thor.
You know what? I might have to do that too, man.
Yeah, Seaber.
Gonna add it to my messy nerd cave that I'm in right now.
Yeah, nice. I see
Uh,
that. And we're eventually going to be doing a video podcast. So actually, you know what, Seabury? I think just to test it out, we're going to post this on YouTube because I am recording this video right now. So I think we're going to post this on YouTube so they will get to see the nerd cave. And I can even see a little Miles Morales right behind your shoulder there, Seabury.
oh yeah, man. Uh, since I tend to use this when I do Cine Sundry, I was trying to put like people who've been in movies or cartoons up here. So I got you John Stewart still. I got Riri Williams because she coming.
Ooh
She
wee.
gonna be in Black Panther 2. Then she gonna have her own series. And I got Phastos from the Eternals, mainly because it looks like the actor Brian Tyree Henry,
Paperboy.
aka Paperboy from Eternal. Yeah, man. But please continue with
Yeah.
your comics.
So finally, to round out this episode, Seabury, I got a chance to check out some Squirrel Girl, which Squirrel Girl is not my favorite character, but I feel like Marvel's trying to push her a little bit right now. There's a little Squirrel Girl push going on. So they released
Yeah.
an Infinity comic to basically set up her podcast. So I read the Infinity comic, as I talked about last week. I love all these Infinity comics where you can just infinitely scroll on your phone. And it was cool. It was a nice setup of what she's doing. Basically, she's trying to help everybody, trying to get all the villains to be good guys, and they're supposed to be calling into her radio show, and she's supposed to be answering all their plights and their plurals. But this radio show actually is pretty interesting because have you had a chance to listen to any of the Marvel podcasts that they've put out? They're these radio dramas, basically.
Oh, I haven't listened to those.
Yeah, there's a ton of them actually. They got a partnership with SiriusXM, but you can listen to all of them for free as podcasts. So they've got like the Old Man Logan, they've got the Old Man Hawkeye, they've got the Old Woman Scarlet Witch or Black Widow. Sorry, they got like the Black Widow, and it's in that Old Man Logan timeline or that continuity, and it's like just audio plays, audio dramas with each one of those. So they're very well acted. They get some really good people, like they got Danny Glover in one of them. They got like a ton of really good actors. But that's exactly what this Squirrel Girl one is. But instead of being actually, the Logan one was really good too. Not the Old Man Logan, but they did a Logan one where he was going through Alaska and Louisiana and hunting people
Yeah,
down.
like I would see ads. Man, I'm kind of lazy about podcasts, man. Because I tend to listen to podcasts as background music when
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
when I'm at my day job,
yeah.
and also like I tend to listen to the ones that's on YouTube. I
Oh yeah,
just be like, I'm
yeah.
like, you're on YouTube, you got video, like entertain me.
Yeah.
But I need to branch out though, because I need to get into that and some other non-comic
Well, I would say this
podcasts.
Squirrel Girl one is a nice one to jump into because it's different than all the other ones. The Old Man series, they were starting to get a little bit repetitive to me. It was the same thing over and over again. But this one, like I said, she's on a radio show. She's accepting calls. They even have a celebrity guest. John Hodgman is on this first episode. So I guess they're going to have different celebrities calling in. But it was all good fun. They got a nice little social media campaign set up where she's she's got the phone number listed on her Twitter account. You can call. This is in real life. You can call it, and I guess maybe they'll play some of these on the show. But I liked it. I'm enjoying it. I'll probably continue with that. I like what Marvel's doing with a lot of their audio stuff. DC is actually trying to do that too. With they did a Batman radio drama that had Jeffrey Wright as Batman. So they're trying to. I don't know what DC's doing, but Marvel has it a lot more organized and a lot more set up on it. So that's good.
What a surprise,
Yeah.
dude! I find it hard to believe that DC has been a division of Warner Brothers for decades. Because it seems like there's no synergy between like DC and Warner. Even after DC moved to Burbank,
Right.
I just be like, you're literally a like an arm of one of the biggest entertainment companies in the world. I'm like, why is it so hard for you guys to get in sync? Like,
Yeah.
it feels like it shouldn't be this hard. And then it's like, well, like I said, man, at this point, I rock with DC out of nostalgia and also out of just, they some gutsy fools. Like, they some fools, but they some gutsy fools, boy. They gonna go hard. Now it's either gonna be beautiful or it's gonna be stupid. But they just like, you know what? No guts, no glory. I'd be like, well, I admire your chutzpah, DC.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, Seabury, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. Next week, we're actually going to be talking about Captain America number zero, some other stuff that I will be reading at that time. Probably keep catching up on Amazing Spider-Man, and I want to tease next week, Seabury. We're going to be talking about race swapping heroic
And
identities.
and I'm gonna throw in some gender swapping too.
Oh,
You know,
nice. Okay,
we
cool.
gotta talk about these race swapped and gender swapped. I guess established heroes who have new people come in.
Yeah, and I got some stuff to say about that too. So stay tuned next week on Vactor Loves Comics for another episode. We'd like to thank everybody for listening. Don't forget, always subscribe, like us, leave us a review if it's on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And actually, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Either if you've read any of the books that we talked about, or if you have any thoughts, what did you pick up this week? Let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you would be so kind, check out the Geek So to Speak podcast network, where I am doing a plethora of podcasts. The Sandbox Gamers, which is a video game podcast. The Hold'em Maneuver, which is a Star Wars podcast. Technological, which is a Star Trek podcast. And Geek So to Speak, which is a geek news podcast. So all of those places you can find me. Seabury, where can they find you this week?
All right. So boom. Okay. I have a movie review show called Cine Sundry. I do it in conjunction with On Location Memphis. You can find that at On Location Memphis' Facebook page or on their YouTube channel. It's easy to find it on YouTube. Just type in Cine Sundry, you'll see my smiling face. Or you'll see my face. Sometimes I smile. Uh, Also, I'm a member of the Black Nerd Power Podcast. We are part of the Kazuki Network. You can find those in audio form on the Kazuki app, and you can find some of the last few on YouTube as well. And other than that, you can hopefully find me here, guys. Vector
Yeah.
Loves Comics, like Shout out to Justin. I call him my pod father. He's the first person to, what I'm saying, put me on the podcast, put me in the game. He's like the P Diddy to my Mace.
Nice.
That's an old reference. That was a Gen X reference. And I just want to keep doing it, man. Like I said, I'm just an old nerd who just I never really stopped listening, reading comics. The American each week is fluctuating, but I love comics, and I think you should too.